Alright, hello YouTube. This is Husky Seas just coming with a nice little video. So, I was just going around looking for my travel list, which is right here. I made that when I was about 6 years old, because my grandparents, they have this, like, little globe, and I'd always like to look at it, and then you're like, I like traveling, so how about I start a travel list? Then I look at, like, the globe, and just pick out some places where I want to go in the world. And yeah, this is a worldwide traveling list. This right here, it has, like, Africa, Paris, Italy, Russia, China, New Zealand, etc. Um, yeah, so I was looking around for that because I have Arizona on that list, and if you guys saw my Grand Canyon vlog, then you know I went to Arizona recently for my second time in my life. So I put Arizona on this travel list, and uh, I just like was looking for it to so I can cross Arizona off. And if you guys didn't see Arizona, it's actually on the back because I'm out of room on the front. Yeah, there's a lot of places in the world I want to go, so gotta save up for it. Yeah. So I was looking around for the traveling list, and then when I found it, I ran into some old drawings that I made when I was around 4 years old, and most of these drawings have a lot of things to do with Disneyland, not Disney movies. Some of them kind of go out of it a bit, but most of them is Disneyland. So, yeah, so I thought, I haven't seen these in a long time, so how about I just get them on video? And one thing, before you see all these pictures, I made these when I was 4, and when I was 4, I was not the greatest speller. So there's going to be some misspelling in these pictures. So if you're wondering how come they're spelled incorrectly, I made these when I was 4. So just give you guys a little heads up. So this first picture, it's kind of a big one. So I have to unfold it. So hold on. This is a big picture. If you guys don't know what that is, that's the Finding Nemo submarine voyage at Disneyland. Um, if you guys see the windows are along the submarine, when I was 5 years old, I I didn't know where the windows were because I was never on the submarine voyage. I've been on it before, just not when I was 5. Um, so how I found it out is, let me start it for you. I have an iPad, and I used to have this Disneyland app on the iPad, so it shows me like all the rides at Disneyland, California Adventure, and Downtown Disney. Well, there's not rides there, but it shows me like some stuff over there. Although on California Adventure they have to get updated because there's the new Pixar Pier and stuff. So yeah, as I was saying, I'd always like to go on that app almost like every morning just to see like my favorite rides and all the others. And when you enter Tomorrowland, there's like, one of those submarines but sitting in like a small lagoon. And I'm like, okay, I see the submarine, but then I look down at the water. I'm like, wait, hold on. Why is there little circly windows under the water? Because, like, there is no sign of any reflection on the top of the submarine that could show a reflection of windows on the water. So, I didn't search it up, but when I was 8, that's how I found it out. When I was, actually when I was around 7, this was like back in 2015. I went to Disneyland in August of that year, and I saw a sign saying that the submarines were being closed for refurbishment. And me personally, I liked watching them when they would like go around into the cave and like me standing up on top of at the monorail and like they come out. And that just like calmed me down a bit. Well, when I saw them, that the sign saying that they would be closed for refurbishment, um, when I went by the lagoon, it was all blocked off by walls and stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, so no submarines, period. Well, when I went on the monorail, I sat in the front, like where the driver is, and it when oh my god, I can't talk. You know how like the monorail, it goes like over the submarines a bit, like it kind of makes like a little U-turn, but then it goes like over the Autopia, then around Matterhorn, then you're at Tomorrowland. Um, when I when we were going around the submarine lagoon, like going over it when it was closed for refurbishment, um, that was like my only time I could only see. That was like the only time I could see the subs. So I'm like, why is it closed down? I don't see like any broken tracks or anything. I just didn't know what refurbishment was at the time. This was like when I was like, yeah, you like 7, like I said earlier. Um, and then I saw the submarines. I could see that there was the yellow part, and then under it there was a gray part where the windows were. I'm like, that's why the windows were underwater in the app, cause they are underwater. And like, oh my god, it took me forever to find out. So I was pretty mad at myself when I found out. And I'm like, it looks different when there's no water on there. So yeah, that took me a while. And I just like to draw the submarines when I was young. So, because I like to watch them. And speaking of that, uh, I have this like little bundle when I found out that the windows were underwater. And if you guys don't know that there's 8 total submarines at the Finding Nemo submarine voyage, they all end in like '07. So 107, 207, 307, etc. So basically right here, this is a bunch of 8 papers saying like all the submarines and like their different numbers. Like this one's 107. And yeah. So I don't have to show you all those 8 pictures just because like they all look the same. But those were actually the first drawings of me actually having the windows underwater. There was an underwater cabin, and the first time I ever went on them was like in 2016. So, moving on. I just talked about the monorail, so how about I show you the monorail? And this is the first picture where there is some misspelling. Um, I was impressed what I heard about the monorail. So, there's a Disneyland Railroad. When I heard something about like this being the first monorail, something about it in the Western Hemisphere, I'm like, wow, Disneyland's more impressive than I thought. So yeah, that was super impressive. And then when like I said, I made these when I was 4. I had like a big like on trains when I was 4 to like 8. I still like them today, but like, I was a diehard fan of them when I was, yeah, like 4 to 8. This next one, it might seem a little weird, but here it is. So, if you don't know what that's supposed to be, it's supposed to be the Woody Bus, or as I like to call it. So if you guys don't know what that is, like if you've never been to Disneyland, um, or if you've just been there for the first time, what that is that there's a Woody parking lot, so it has like a Woody lot, a Jessie lot, and a Buzz lot. And what these are is that there's these blue buses with different Toy Story characters in the windows, and they just transport you to like the main gates of Disneyland and California Adventure. Um, so yeah, and my parents say that I would like the Woody buses so much that I could just be put on them and ride them all day and I would be happy. Like, no Disneyland rides, and I'd just be happy on this bus. And, spelled Disney wrong. I feel kind of, yeah. But, like I said, 4 years old, wasn't the best speller. So, yeah. This next picture, it's gonna be on a paper napkin, or a paper towel, I guess you could say. It's a steam train. So, um, there's this book. It's a train book. It's called How to Train Your Train, and I love that book so much. In fact, um, I have it. It's in my closet in here. Let me see if I can find it. Um, don't know if I want to find it now. Here it is. It's this book, How to Train, Not Your Train. And I would like to read this book so much that I'd like read it once a morning. And it was like a special book to me just cuz I like trains so much. And in the book it had these big steam trains, and I was like a diehard fan of steam trains mostly. Diesel trains I wouldn't mind, but I like steam trains a lot more. So they had this big steam train in like 2 pages. So I'm like, you know, I want to get something to write that train on just so I can remember it. But we had no paper, so I just had to get a napkin or a paper towel. And I just tried to draw the train as best as I can. So, yeah. Um, yeah, so it's called How to Train a Train. Let me just set that down right here. Um, this next picture, it is, not Disney related. Like the steam train. If you guys don't know what that is, that's supposed to be Megatron from Transformers. I liked Transformers a lot when I was younger. In fact, that iPad I mentioned, I'd have like a Transformers app on the iPad, and basically what it'd do would be Transformer. I think it was called Transformers Fight Night or something. Um, yeah. So what I do is that I like to play it, and my favorite matchup was Optimus Prime versus Megatron. In fact, here's a little drawing of Optimus Prime, the best I can. Um, yeah, that would be my favorite matchups. Basically, what you could do is that you choose your own bot who you want to fight with, or choose your own bot who would fight, and then you could select a rank, and you can also choose your opponent and the difficulty that you want it at. So most of the time, it'd always be Optimus Prime and Megatron. That's like all it would be. Um, yeah, so that's really how I was. I think that's about it. Nope. We still got one more. A few of my papers just fell. We got one more, and as you can see, it is cut. Some of it is cut out, and as you can see, there's a junior in it. And here is. It says Casey Jr., but as I mentioned a lot, wasn't the best speller, so I just put Casey Jr. as the letters. And if you want to know something about my personal life with Casey Jr., here, I'll tell you about it. I really loved that ride so much. Um, when I first went on the actual ride at Disneyland when I was 4 years old, and you know it caught my attention because it was a train and stuff. And like when I was a train fan, like around 5, I'd started watching like Thomas the Train and like reading that How to Train a Train book. So basically anything that had to do with trains, I just love it. So of course Casey caught my attention because he was a train. And when I first went on it, I'm like, you know, that's something out of the ordinary. I've never seen a train that has like his own theme song and actually says I think I can, like the little engine that could. Um so yeah, that was impressive. And then I didn't actually see Dumbo until like I was like 5 or something because I used to have a DVD player and I have Dumbo, the movie disc, so I'd play it. And I actually saw that's why he's a circus train, because he transports the circus. So the first time I ever saw him, I saw a little difference. I'm like, wait, he has a mouth in the movie, but don't I remember him not having a mouth at the ride at Disneyland? So I'm like, how does he talk then? That's where everything caught my attention. As soon as the conductor said all aboard and it switched to Casey's face, it wasn't his mouth that was moving. His eyes would move, but it wasn't his mouth that would talk, it was his whistle. And I'm like, he talks from his whistle? Like, oh, you're kidding me. There's no way that's actually possible. Like, he has a mouth. Like, does what? What? I was just speechless when I saw that. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm super impressed. So, when I just like wanted to make sure that the ride at Disneyland had no mouth. So when I went back to Disneyland, I'm like, he has a nose, he has 2 eyes, but he has no mouth. So I'm like, what the? Everything was just speechless. And I saw a few videos of what Casey actually was. So I guess back in the early days of Disneyland, he did have a mouth, I don't know why it was removed. And I guess he also had side rods as well. If you don't know what side rods are, these are like this little black thing right here. Now he just has 2 wheels. Well, 2 wheels on each side. Yeah, so I was just like mind blowed when I saw that he actually talks from his whistle. And little personal life with it, I'd go on it like on average 14 times per trip when we go to Disneyland when I was about like 4 to I want to say 9. Um I'd go on it. This was the only route I knew. I'd go straight through the castle because I knew that was the only straight way there. Because like basically Fantasyland was my favorite part of Disneyland when I was a kid. I'd like Tomorrowland. Like the monorail was like the only thing I ever liked in Tomorrowland. Um yeah, so I like not run. I just like walk as fast as I can to Casey. And there was actually this one point in time where we went there and I was actually the first person on the ride for the day. And I love it so much. And I went on it so constantly and constantly and constantly and constantly that the ride attendants would know what my name, like my first name, and they'd recognize me. So like when I come back to the front of the line, like come back on it, they'd be like, "Oh, hey, you're back. Yeah, excited for some more like rides with Casey?" I'm like, "Yeah." And let me just say something what one ride attendant said to me once. She said straight to my face that I remember the exact words. She said, I'm not going to say my name on camera. She said directly to me, once you're 18, you can drive Casey yourself. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing at least until I'm 65. And now that I look at it today, I'm like, that'd still be nice. Like, have a job at Disneyland. That'd be nice. Although there is more things that I want to do. I want to try to become a professional ball player. But still, that'd be nice. Like, drive Casey, like, an old childhood memory. So, yeah. I was just, like, super impressed by, like, what she said directly to me. So, yeah. And when I found out that Casey was actually a ride that would go during the fireworks, because most rides close during the fireworks, like Peter Pan, Alice, Storybook Land, etc. Yeah, when I found out that Casey would run during the fireworks, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing during the fireworks. And there was actually this one point in time when we went there. This was like when I was 6, and it was at nighttime, so of course the fireworks were going. It was like around 9 o'clock, and we oh my god, we go on it, and then we like end the ride. So like we're back at the station. I'd peek over the edge of the car before the ride attendants were coming. No one else was in line, so I'm like, well, how come I have to get off? No one's in line. I just wish I could stay on. And then apparently my wish actually came true. The ride attendant who would know me mostly, she didn't like bother to open the door because she knew that no one was in line. I was on the ride, and she like be like, he likes this ride so much, and there's no one in line. So how about we just like let him go on it again? Like he'll love it. So of course I did, and I just love Casey. It was all about Casey when I was a kid. And of course, like I started to grow out of it. I got into like Thunder Mountain and Matterhorn and stuff. And of course, I grew out of it, but I do go on it like once or twice per trip. And speaking of Disneyland, we are going there next Friday. And yeah, that was just like my life when I was a kid with me, Disneyland, and my nice old friend Casey Jr. I mean, like I said, driving Casey Jr., that'd be nice, like having a job at Disneyland. But there's other things other than Casey. But yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed all these drawings and hearing something about my personal life with Disneyland and a few other rides. And this is gonna wrap it up for this video. And I'll just see you guys next week or next Friday when we're gonna be in Disneyland. So have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in Disneyland next Friday.